Hi, Levi. How are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Just okay?
Yeah, I've just been kind of going through some stuff. I'm really struggling with my health right now, and I'm not really sure what to do about it.
You say you're struggling with your health and you're going through some stuff. What kind of health struggles are you experiencing right now?
Well, I got diagnosed with HIV recently, so I got it from my partner. And so I'm healthy right now, but I've been going to like doctor's appointments and making sure I'm taking my meds and all that kind of stuff. So, it's just been a lot going on. I don't really have any support because I haven't really told anybody about it.
Okay. So you were recently diagnosed with HIV. You have been getting treatment for it, which is, in my opinion, a great thing. But you don't have any support for that right now.
No, I haven't told any family or friends about it. I'm really embarrassed about it, and I just don't want to feel like I'm being judged,
Okay.
with my diagnosis. I didn't know my partner had it when we were together.
Okay.
So I'm pretty upset about that as well still.
That's understandable. I think that's a valid feeling. You said you're feeling embarrassed and you don't want to be judged.
Right.
Expand on this feeling of embarrassment for me.
So, I come from like a very Christian home,
Okay.
and already my parents are like, when are you going to get married? When are you going to start having kids? And, you know, the diagnosis of HIV hasn't always like looked at the best. There's a big stigma towards it. And I'm just worried about my family kind of going with that stigma. I spend a lot of time with my nieces and nephews, and I don't want my siblings to say that I can't spend time with them anymore because now I have a HIV diagnosis, and I'm worried of being like isolated from my family because we're pretty close.
Absolutely. So you believe that you're going to be judged by your family and then subsequently isolated by them.
Yeah, I'm already pretty isolated. I'm not super social outside of work. I have friends that I talk to like on Facebook and like through text messages, but we don't really hang out too much. Other than like when their kids have events, I'll buy their cookies and their candy and that kind of stuff. But so when I found out, I just kind of like backed away from all of that stuff because I was just scared. I didn't know what to do. And I feel like stuck in this perpetual like isolation
Mhm.
because I nobody knows.
Yes. Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you are afraid of being isolated by your family, and then in turn, you're self-isolating.
Right.
Do you think that might be to avoid them, isolating you, so you're doing it to yourself beforehand?
Yeah, I'm still hanging out with my family. Like, we have weekly dinners and that kind of stuff. Instead, I do go to my nieces and nephew, their games, if they have baseball, this stuff. So I do see my family quite often socially, just not my friends. Um, it has been, and I have not been dating at all since as well. So it feels like I do have my family, but at the same time, I don't because I can't really express what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You feel as though you can't, tell them what's really going on in your life, and that's in itself isolating. Absolutely. And you said you're not spending any time with friends right now. Is that also because of the fear of judgment that you were describing, or is it something else?
Yeah, it's a big the fear of judgment. Also, I don't have a lot of free time because I'm seeing the doctor right now once a week, and it's a bit of a drive, so I usually get a hotel for a night and
Hmm.
stay there. So that's at least 2 days a week that I'm going for treatment and that kind of thing. So when I'm missing those 2 days, if I'm missing with work, I usually make up those 2 days, which means I end up working on the weekend. So it doesn't that also doesn't leave a lot of free time.
Yeah, that's understandable. It sounds like it takes a large chunk of your time,
Yes, it does.
and that can also be isolating.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, has there ever been another situation in your life with your family that would lead you to believe that they would pass this judgment onto you, besides the fact that they're Christians?
Um, no, not really. I mean, I guess because they do have strong Christian values, like they didn't really support me living with my partner
Mm,
ahead of marriage and that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of where maybe it's coming from, is that they didn't really support me with this partner, and then my partner gives me HIV and just ups and leaves. So I'm not just worried about the "I told you so's." There's like a bigger consequence than
yes.
just "I told you so" kind of deal.
Yeah, that stigma that you were discussing earlier.
Right.
So, what would it look like if you were to tell your family? And I mean, in what do you envision their response to be?
Um, I imagine that they would be shocked,
Mhm.
maybe angry. It they might be angry that I kept it from them. They might be angry that I have it. I'm not really sure. Like again, their response is really like gives me a lot of anxiety because I just kind of don't know what to expect.
Yes, absolutely. Anxiety at the fear that they may be angry with you for various reasons.
Right. I hope that they would be supportive. They've always been supportive in the past, but it's never been something like this big before.
Yes, this is pretty big, but as you just said, they have been supportive in the past. There's really not much evidence that they wouldn't be supportive now. And
Right.
it is possible that they would be angry with you, but do you think that anger would, persist indefinitely? Or,
Um, I guess maybe that's the one I'm worried about. Because if they're just angry temporarily, I feel like maybe I'd be fine with that. Um, I don't think that they would, you know, I'm just not really sure because if if they're angry for like 6 months or longer, I just don't know if I could deal with that, you know? They're like my only support
mhm,
in
mhm.
my daily life, so that would just it would really, to me, be even more isolating than before.
Yeah, that does sound like it would be more isolating. Um, so what part of this situation, telling your family this, this diagnosis that you have, what part of it seems like the most challenging to navigate for you right now?
The thing that's the most challenging, I guess, is just getting over the hump of telling them,
Mhm.
telling my family, telling my friends, telling my coworkers. I think that because of the nature of the illness, I'm required to at least tell my job,
Mhm.
but, um, then again, like, again, it's the same worry of, like, if my job knows and it gets around, are my coworkers gonna start to isolate me?
Mhm.
Um, to the point where I'd want to quit, and I just can't afford that right now. My parents are already helping me financially.
Mm.
They haven't really asked too many questions why I need help, but it's because of the treatments I've been going through that I do need the extra help financially.
Yes.
Um, because sometimes the medical trips are so expensive because I do live in a smaller town, so I have to go to a larger city.
Hmm.
And it usually takes a couple of hours to get there, so it's a bit of a burden.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it's a great burden.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in your life that you have really considered, telling?
Um, no, not
Mm.
really. The only person I've talked to about it is, like I said, my ex-partner,
Hmm.
because I got it from them. Uh, and it did not go well. They kind of just like denied, 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 and then just left. Like, so there wasn't a real conversation about
Hmm.
it. So other than talking with my doctors, I haven't talked to anybody at all outside of that medical space.
Okay. Okay. And, it is great that you have those medical providers in your life to at least ex get it off your chest to an extent and, maybe get some advice or, just words of encouragement at the very
Right.
least. But nobody else in your life that you've even considered telling. Okay. Okay.
Now, again, like I really want to tell my family, but I'm so scared about the response to it, you
Yeah.
know? Um, I would hope that they would be welcoming and encouraging and that kind of stuff, but again, it's like, you know, the stigma behind it is so harsh, and I'm unsure what my family knows about it and how much they're educated on it because there's a lot of misinformation. And so I don't want them to judge me based on the misinformation.
I understand what you're saying. I do. You keep using this word stigma, and I wanted to see what what stigma means to you, how you see this stigma, and what are your views on the diagnosis itself?
Um, well, going to the doctors, I have learned a lot, but I know before that I thought like people who have HIV or unclean or drug users, that, it usually happens in homosexual relationships or, that kind of stuff. So it seems to have like a very negative stigma.
Mhm.
Now, I know better now because I've gone to the doctor and become educated on my illness. Um, but you know, but it's just because I'm in the position to be educated about it. I don't know how much my family knows about it, if they feel like it's because someone's unclean or anything like that, you
Yeah.
know?
Unclean and dirty,
Right.
perhaps, using drugs, you
Yeah.
mentioned. Um, what do you think your life will look like if you don't tell your family and you continue to live in this space that you have right now?
I mean, I I think it'll be fine for a time, but again, I feel like it already is wearing on me, like the isolation. And then what happens when I do get sick or it gets worse and my family is like shocked to know about all this information, or, you know, um, nobody wants to be around me anymore. Like,
Mhm.
I'm already kind of doing that, I feel like, by not saying anything, but the fear of saying something, I guess, is greater right now.
Okay, so the fear of saying something and having all of those things happen is greater than the fear of continuing to stay in this space that you have right now.
Yes.
Okay. And on a scale of 1 to 10, can you rate your fear for me?
I'd say probably about a 9. It's pretty high. Um, it's pretty high because, like I said, I don't know what I'll do without my family. We all live in the same area, we hang out a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if they turn their backs on me, I'm just not sure what I would do after that. Because then I feel like I have no one, and it's not just, like, because my parents do help me financially, I feel like I could get past that, but just the struggle already financially is a burden,
Yes.
and the struggle socially is a burden. I mean, when I'm with others, I think about it all the time, you know? What happens if, I get hurt or whatever and they have to help me? If I start feeling bad, they have to take me to the emergency room. Um, so I guess it's like the fear is pretty high up there.
Yeah. It sounds like it. It does, and it comes through in your words. How, I wanted to ask you, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this question. Um, you've expressed this great fear of, you know, telling people, but you've also expressed this great desire to tell people not only for your own benefit, but for their benefit, just in case, you're bleeding and they're exposed to your blood.
Yes.
Can you describe the feeling you think you would feel if you were to tell them and, maybe provide some of that psychoeducation that you received, the education from the medical providers, and they were to completely understand and, accept you? What does that feel like for you?
Um, Thinking about it, I'm not really sure. I feel like confident in what I could say, like, just kinda put it out there, be like, "This happened." I'm not really sure if I should give them the backstory on it, because, like I said, they did not like my partner,
Yeah.
and in a way, I feel like I should have known better, kind
Mm,
of.
okay.
Um, but I feel like just saying, "Hey, I need to talk to you," and just saying it probably would be the easiest for
Hmm.
me. I don't know if it would be for them, and maybe trying to give them time to get over the shock, you know?
Hmm.
Or maybe going in and being like, "Hey, this is what happened. This is my diagnosis, and this is how I've been being treated."
Hmm.
Maybe that might be more helpful of, you know, going and be like, "Okay, but I'm getting treatment, and this is what the doctors tell me I have to do to stay healthy." Maybe that might be helpful?
It does sound like it would be helpful, yeah. And you think that, once that is out on the table and everything is said that you want to say, how do you think you would feel?
I mean, I would imagine that I would feel better unless they were, like, terrible about it. Unless the response was very negative, then I'd probably feel pretty bad, but I feel like if they responded in a supportive way, that I would feel better about it.
And you have expressed that, they have been supportive in the past,
Right.
and there's no real reason for you to believe that based on previous experiences with your family that they would not be supportive in this instance.
Yeah.
So we are nearing the end of our session, but I did want to give you a little bit of homework.
Okay.
Um, I would like for you to just write down a letter to your family, maybe one member of your family if you want. And I don't want you to send this letter. I just want you to write it down exactly what you would say to them if you were sitting down at the table with them and get it off your chest. You can crumple it up afterwards and throw it away. You can bring it to your next session next week and we can review it together if you would
Okay.
like to.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be beneficial for you to do that. And hopefully we can, you know, get a little further in our next session.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All
That would be
right.
great.
Well, it was lovely to see you, and I will see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.